We're live on Double Funnel TV.
We're on live Double Funnel TV. I was like so proud of myself. I stayed up so late
I
trying to
know.
ensure I got the email out for Double Funnel yesterday that would go out this morning, right about now.
Yeah.
And I'm in the office again, thinking I'm doing all good. And the guys come to fix the HVAC. Remember, it was really hot in my office the other day.
It was really hot in your office
And
the other day.
then it started leaking when I turned it on.
Probably not good.
And so they're here to fix it. I was like, no big deal. I'm going to go into my conference room. They can work in here. We all have our place. It's all good.
I thought I was just having a hot flash the other day, actually.
Oh, no. I was dying on stage.
Well, that's what it was like. Well, I hadn't eaten. So it was one of those where, man, is my body just like revolting right now, going, give me food, give me something, I'm wigging out. I mean, it was like my body temperature was going nuts.
Anyway. Well, as soon as I thought I had my little spot, the HVAC people did something and it started dripping on the conference room table.
Oh. Oops. Never mind.
Some line went backwards. And all of a sudden, I have my headphones on. I'm like getting ready to got like 3 minutes to go. And all of a sudden, I'm like, drip, 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 drip. I was like, the drip's in the other room. What's going on? Did I spill my coffee?
That's the training for today. Drip marketing.
Drip emails. Actually, that is the training. While you talk, I'm going to build emails.
Yay.
What was the magic topic for today?
Well, it's interesting because I thought I knew what I was going to talk about. And then all of a sudden I got up. Well, again, the days, it's always interesting how the days turn out, right? You think you're going in one direction. You think you're zigging and you're zagging. One of those kind of things. And
I understand.
So I was thinking about it this morning, actually, as I was doing my morning workout and stuff. And I said, we talked about some of the foundational stuff as we were putting together the book free with shipping plus bonus page, and as we were then tying in some of the other trainings and the 7 steps to building rapport and just the entire process. It's like it became very evident to me over the last couple of days. People just seemingly, and it's not an indictment, it's not a judgment, it's an observation, don't have the foundation of the selling process. And it's like, but it's almost become glaring. I think that, so I wanted to address that and then solve what we can solve of it today. And we'll continue to do that with Double Funnel TV. But again, it's like, on one side, it's funny because you sit there and you say, well, thank you, Captain Obvious. It's like, which is sidebar here. I was saying Captain Obvious way before Hotels.com actually created Captain Obvious for their advertising.
I don't watch ads anymore, so.
Well, but I'm just saying, I used to say that all the time, and it's like, damn, I knew there was something I forgot to trademark. But anyway.
I think we all did. That's why they came up with it.
Well, but anyway, so in just talking, I've talked to so many entrepreneurs lately, and I've done, a number of lives and training, and then going back and re-earthing the lessons on demand training sequence that I have, and that we now have put into not into Double Funnel TV, but into Business Growth Network, right?
Mm-hmm.
It seems like you have. I don't know. I haven't confirmed that, but I did see some things that might give me indication that was done. But it's people just not recognizing the selling process and how important the process is. We got into this conversation yesterday that as a trainer, I am a process trainer. And the reason you train process as opposed to nuts and bolts is nuts and bolts change. And if you train nothing on except nuts and bolts, then you not only have to know all of your nuts and bolts, but you have to know everybody else's nuts and bolts. And that's not as easy to accomplish.
Nope.
You gain zero respect in the selling process for knowing your own product. Zero. Why is that true?
Doesn't matter if you know it.
No, that's not the reason.
Because people don't buy on features.
That is a true statement, but that is also not the answer I'm looking for.
Give me the answer.
Yeah, you always want the easy way. Come on.
I want the easy way.
The reason you gain no respect for knowing your own product is you should be expected to know your own product. That should be a base expectation, that you should know what you do, how you do it, why you do it. You should know everything about you and your product and your stuff. That's to be expected. So again, there's no ground gained necessarily by you knowing your own stuff. That's expected. Now, if you don't, there is ground loss. So while it doesn't necessarily create influence for you, it will create detriment to you if you don't know your own stuff. Make sense?
That makes sense.
So number one, you have to be a product of the product, whatever that is. So, you know, it would be like saying, here we are on double funnel TV building funnels on Kyvio or on Kartra or on whatever. But we use ClickFunnels. Well, then why aren't you doing that, right? You got to be a product of the product. Whatever product you're promoting or whatever product you're sharing with people, you have to be a product of that product. Because for a variety of reasons, your confidence in the product goes way up. Your knowledge of the product, the anecdotal evidence that the companies don't share with you.
In other words, anecdotal evidence.
So what that would mean is all of a sudden there's no training video in Kartra about a specific feature, but all of a sudden you found that feature, did something really cool with it, and said, oh, you know, I found this thing in Kartra that's even cooler than what they even represented to do. Anecdotal evidence. In other words, you've had success with it, right?
Yeah.
And so there are a mass of people in the buying audience who want the facts and all the science behind the facts and all the facts behind the facts and all the stuff, right? And they beat that to death. But then there's also a whole group of people that could care less about the facts. They just they go to the end result, which is how it will work for them, and that's where the anecdotal evidence comes in.
Okay.
So,
I can see that.
Well,
because everyone says it's not for me.
Yeah, you know what? I thought the exact. But see, if you do it humbly, honestly, say, you know what? I thought the exact same thing until I gave it a whirl, and I found it do this, and here's the improvement it made in my situation, and nobody ever told me it could even do that. Oh, right. It's kind of selling outside the lines. The lines are all the stuff that the manufacturers tell you about, or the product producers tell you about. The outside the lines is the implementation of it all. One of the things, and Rayanne was very kind the other day when she said, the one thing about your training is you take it to a level and continue to take it to a level until it's understood. You continue to expand on it if it needs to be expanded on. Or
That makes sense.
if I have a question, you take it all the way to the level of answering that question. You just don't throw out a theory. You give us the theory and then take it all the way down to the application, to the street level. How will I apply this? How will I implement this? How will this work for me? Well, that's what we should do with any product. And so again, because I've been doing a lot of these trainings and a lot of these conversations and stuff, it became very evident that many people, again, no judgment behind it, but many people don't go into the depth or don't understand the depth of the selling process. And they're not executing things because they don't know what they don't know. They don't even know there's something else to execute. And so that's where it all kind of came back around. And you said the word, we talk about features. What I think is funny, not funny, it's actually gratifying, is a few short months ago, you wouldn't have approached it that way and said it that way. It's because you've heard somebody say it over and over again that all of a sudden you're going, well, yeah, that's because they're selling features. They're not selling benefits. So it's cool to see that has sunk in, right? That part of the exposure to it over and over again has modified your thinking on the subject. I think that's cool.
Well, and it's interesting the different ways that everybody says something too. I had a client call yesterday, and so when we've discussed it from who my mentors are versus who your mentors are, I call it discussing what they have as opposed to what they feel or their average day.
Yeah.
But it really comes down to feature benefits.
Well, and so that's why that's exactly what I really want to touch on is along with this understanding the foundation, because it is, I think sometimes people think in sales, the person with the most words wins. And it's absolutely not the fact. The person who says the right number of words and the right words to the prospect is the one that wins. If it only takes 3 words, you're done. People say, no, really? Yeah. So you in?
Sure.
That's 3 words. We're done. Presentation's over. Exactly. Now, am I suggesting that happens often? No, I'm not suggesting that. But when you
9:16, we're done.
That's exactly it. We're done. But that was one of the, again, it's funny because as we start to, because I saw the fact that you sent me links at 2:00 in the morning for today, 2:34, I think it was. But I was like, oh, she's serious about having some training in here today. Okay. And so I started thinking about the training. I started thinking about what I was going to share. And it's funny how, again, when you replay some of the conversations you've had, and you don't, every selling situation, every prospect is a unique and new opportunity.
Okay.
Now there's some characteristics that people fall into in common. There's 4 temperaments. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. There's 4 buying styles. Okay, so but the point is, the vast majority of people think that there's only one way to present their product. Another thing that clues me into this is I was team selling yesterday with somebody, and officially they were in charge. And meaning, if you're team selling, that means two or more people have the opportunity to present at some point in time in the presentation.
Okay, I got that.
The other person, I did the introduction, handed it off to the other person. It's now they're in control, period. End of conversation. You do not step back in until asked. What far too many people do in team selling situations is person one does the introduction, hands it off to person two. Person two is doing the presentation. Person one is listening to the presentation, going, well, boy, she missed this really important point right here. And so they jump in. Well, what that does, person two knows their path. You probably don't know their path. They may have had it planned out when they were going to say that. You just jumped in and opened. You took them out of flow.
Yeah.
You created potential confusion with the listener, with the prospect, right?
Yeah. So
the only time you do that, the only time you ever jump, is when it's time for a ripcord. I mean, it's time to parachute out, because the person number two isn't listening. They've not missed one clue or two clues. It's probably they've missed about 5 clues. And this thing is spiraling in the wrong direction. That's the only time that you would do that. But it's never after, oh, you missed this one thing or you're out of sequence here. So anyway, I was on a team call like that yesterday, and I absolutely heard it spiraling out of control. And the prospect would answer a question, and the presenter answered a totally different question.
On purpose, like trying to stick to talking points, or?
I don't know. I'm going to have the conversation today and try to understand what they were hearing, but I can assure you they were hearing something different than I was hearing. Now, my relationship with the prospect is closer. So that's probably why I've got more insight into their thought process. So I could have prepared the person a little bit better. But, so again, these are the things. I don't care how veteran a salesperson you are. You always learn something in a presentation. Always.
While you're giving the presentation.
While you're giving the presentation.
Okay.
If you go back and observe it, if you go back and replay it in your mind. So it was the third time the person answered a question different than the one asked. And I was really hearing frustration on the prospect's part. And so again, there's a tactful way of doing it. You don't just jump in. You just say, hey, let me see if I can add something that talks to that point. Would that be okay? You gain permission before you just start providing a solution. Then I took back control. Now now I'm in control of the selling situation. We answered those questions. We got it back to where it was. Then he asked another question that the other person had the answer to. I didn't. And I said, well, let me refer that back. So I brought him back in. That's how team selling works. You go back and forth. It's a coordinated effort, right? The reason I'm sharing all this is people go, all this goes on in the selling situation all the time. So that's why it's so important to understand selling foundation, to understand that you are in a problem-solving process. And if, in fact, you ask enough questions, you get enough information, you understand the problem well enough, and your solution is the one that can solve that problem in that process. That's why it doesn't take much to close it. It becomes, does that make sense? Well, yeah, it does. Okay, let's get started. Because if you've done enough of the front part of the selling process, it's not about the thing.
The thing.
The thing being the product, the good, the service, whatever it is you're offering. Yeah, no, I know you did. So, but that's what I want to. So even this morning, as an example, I said, you know what we should really talk about this morning is features, advantage, benefit, feature, advantage, benefit, presentation, why it's so important, what the differences are between them and all that. And all of a sudden I went, well, but that only really works if we understand why we even get to that point. Because that's not the foundational piece. Right? So what we just did is the foundational piece.
Yeah.
All you want to do is you want to share the exact number of words it takes for the other person to come in agreement with you and want to take advantage of your offer. Period. End of conversation. Think about it back in the day.
Say that one again so I can type it right. I was like, how do I sum that up into
yeah, that's weird. Thought I had my ringer off. You only want to use the right number of words that accomplish the prospect saying yes and taking action, taking advantage of your offer. Where I was going with that is think back in the beginning of digital, there you go, the beginning of digital marketing. What were the sales letters called?
Long form sales letters.
Long form sales letters. Now, when you built a long form sales letter, how many buy buttons were in a long form sales letter? Think about it.
I don't even want to know, like 10,000.
Well, no, but think every so often there's a summation, an opportunity to buy. If you don't take that action, you keep on going down to the next set of words. Summation, opportunity to buy. So if you think of a long form sales letter,
yeah,
what they did is intermittently they'd put in the opportunity to close. Think of that as that was just the right number of words for that person. Then the next buying style needed this many more words. And then the next buying style needed this many more words. And the next buying style needed this many more words. That's why whether it was ever taught that way or not is hard to say. But that's the reality. The fewer number of words you can take. And so then when somebody says yes to you, you're done. Well, but you don't understand. I've got 15 more features to talk to you about. If you keep on talking, the chances are you are going to talk yourself out of the sale. You've done everything you need to do to close the sale.
Yeah.
So why would you now talk yourself out of the sale because of ego? Because the only reason you want to keep on telling them stuff is to show them that you know it. It's not doing you any more good.
And you're expected to know it.
Yeah. So that's why you have to have this quiet confidence, not arrogance. There's a difference between arrogance and confidence. Arrogance is, I'm right. I'm going to tell you I'm right. And once I'm done telling you I'm right, go ahead and you tell me I'm right. Where confidence is, you know what? It seems in the situation, this is the appropriate solution. It's a confidence as opposed to an arrogance. Yeah. So again, as the only reason that people, salespeople tend to continue on with their presentation is because either they've been trained that way. By God, you've got this many words to complete, and if you don't complete all these words, you're not doing it right. Or they love to hear themselves talk. They're afraid of the close. They're afraid of success. Yes, and we've talked about this. There is fear of success. Oh my God, you said yes. Well, then I'd have to take the order. Well, if I take the order, then I got to collect the money. If I collect the money, oh my God, then I got to deliver the product. Oh hell, let me just blow this out of the water and tell everybody I had a great call. I'm not saying that people think through that process to accomplish it, but that it is in reality what they do. So again, it becomes use the fewest words to get the yes. So one of a tried, true, proven, absolutely works, is absolutely spot on way of doing that is a feature, advantage, benefit presentation. And if you think about it, and I would encourage you, as whoever you, the colloquial you that's listening to this at this point.
Colloquial you.
Start from a place 100% of the time with the assumption the person thinks you're overcharging, you're not delivering enough, and you're only out for their money. Because if it's not that, it's better. So if you start thinking from that place, you'll address every one of those things to solve it. No, we do have the best offering. We do deliver better than anybody else, and we're tremendously cost appropriate and provide tremendous value.
I like that, cost appropriate.
Well, that's what it is, right? And so again, it becomes, that's where, again, when we were talking the other day, Rayanne was saying, it's word choice. I'll give you so many people go, if you do this, you can change. But a much more powerful way of saying that is, if you do this, you can improve. Now, why is that so much more powerful?
Oh, because people, for some reason, hate change.
Exactly.
Even when change is good and easy.
Exactly.
I don't understand. Makes my brain hurt.
I'm trying to tell you why.
No, but I'm saying I don't understand why people have such an affliction.
Because they say, because societally we have convinced people that change is hard. That change is potentially evil. That change is, oh my God, you lose if you change. You have to give something up if you change. So that's why, again, simple word choice. If you do this, you will improve. People resist change. They embrace improvement. So if you improve your language from saying change to improve, your sales will improve. One word. If you improve that one word in your vocabulary, the quality of your sales, the quality of your life, the quality of your relationships is the quality of your communication. If you communicate better, you will have greater relationships. If you have greater relationships, you will have more people that trust you. If you develop more trust, those people will take the actions you ask them to take. If you ask them to take the actions and they trust you and there's a strong relationship, they will buy. So again, people make the selling process so hard, but it's a flow chart. It's a logic string. whatever your generation wants to call it, not you personally, but the person I'm talking to. If you're a boomer, you look at it as a flow chart, because that was the first way that this logic was introduced. Now you talk about logic strings, or you talk about a variety of other things. So back to features, advantages, and benefits. A feature is merely a thing. A feature is a thing. And manufacturers, producers, those providing service, all have lots of things, but it's a thing. And your title on your business card qualifies you to be a thing. If your business card says chiropractor, chiropractor is a thing. I know you take great pride in the word and the title, but it's a thing. As a sales professional is a thing. The thing doesn't make any difference until it's transformed. So as we're doing as we're building funnels here on Double Funnel TV, Kyvio's got a bunch of things. ClickFunnels has a bunch of things. Kartra has a bunch of things. They all have things. And so again, this goes back to our training from last week on price value, or this is part of that price value relationship. If you're stuck in price selling, you now compare the price you're paying with how many things you're getting. Kyvio offers 29 things for $29 a month.
Okay, now I get it.
Kartra offers 32 things for $29 a month.
And they literally create those.
They create those things.
Well, I mean, but they have the big list that list all their things, and compare them against everyone else's things.
That's my point. So what that does, it's funny because I was sitting talking to somebody this morning, and we were talking about how the internet has changed the way people buy. And it's absolutely true. And now what has happened? Walmart announces yesterday, 1-day delivery with no membership. 1 day, free delivery, no membership. Who's that in response to?
That's obvious. That's an Amazon.
Why? Because
they have free 2-day shipping with a paid membership.
Right.
And Amazon got the best of them. And the reason that Amazon was able to get in front of Walmart, which nobody else has been able to do at this point, is Amazon opened up their business to outside business. So if you, Scott, wanted to sell something utilizing the Amazon platform, shipping and logistics, because there's no way you can do 2-day shipping, that's that beautiful, you would just have it fulfilled by Amazon, ship your products to Amazon, sell through Amazon, they take their cut, you get your cut, everyone's happy. But then Amazon, like Toys R Us, for example, didn't have to keep all that expensive inventory. And so they were starting to really kick Walmart's butt. So Walmart has now literally exactly copied that model on Walmart's platform. So when you shop Walmart.com, it's like Amazon, in that not everything on Walmart.com is
coming from Walmart.
Yeah.
Cool, huh? So but that's an example. They're playing the thing versus thing game. And that's an example of how if you stay in that place, you're always susceptible for somebody taking your knees out.
That got intense quick.
You don't think that Amazon looked at that and went, those son of biscuits.
I don't think the Waltons, I wonder at what point, one, Bezos was like, I could take on Walmart. I could take on the giant. And then too, I wonder at what point the Waltons were like,
almost immediately. No, they did what everybody else did. Oh, this will never work. This will never happen. This will never whatever. So here's the point that when Amazon, when they reached 1 million square foot plus distribution centers around the country.
how many?
121. They're now over that. There's 4 in Dallas.
I only thought there was one in Dallas.
No,
and I thought it served a very wide area.
No, there's 4 in Dallas. There's one down towards Hutchison. There's a couple in Coppell. There's one out more towards Fort Worth now. My point is, I had a FBA Amazon business for a period of time, and there's a whole nother reason, or no whole nother portion of that, but they were my distribution. That was the selling point. I buy product, I send it straight from my vendor to them. They tag it for me, they hold it for me, they deliver it for me, they take a piece of it. Okay, you're playing the spread game.
That is the spread game, literally.
It's retail arbitrage, it's spread. I mean, we can have those conversations because I've played in that world. But then once the Amazon bought at one time 1,800 big rig trucks, 18-wheel trucks on one order.
On one order?
On one order. And you know why? Why are we paying UPS to do this? Let's have our own.
Not even UPS. Well, there's that one too, but the heat is coming on them because they had made a really sweet deal with the United States Postal Service. Mm-hmm. And they're getting a lot of flack from it because the United States Postal Service has been severely in the red for quite some time now. And everyone's looking at the sweet deal they had with Amazon, which represents obviously their largest one. Right. And they're losing money, tons of it.
Exactly.
They had up the rates.
Exactly. And so anybody, this is an opinion, it's my opinion, so I'm entitled to it. Bezos wants vertical integration into everything. He doesn't want the dollar to ever go outside Amazon. So if it's Amazon freight, cool. If it's Amazon hosting, cool. It starts with Amazon hosting and goes all the way to delivery with their trucks and everything in between. And so again, it's not a value judgment, it's an observation. And so as it keeps on getting bigger, what's happening is other people are being pushed out. It's being harder and harder and harder to do business. And that's why I'm so adamant about this feature advantage benefit, and you can't stay in the thing game. There isn't an entrepreneur that has enough resources to fight them on the thing game. Can't do it. So you've got to add value. Yep, get out of the thing game. That's exactly it. So features are merely things. Again, as a sales trainer, I'm a thing. There are multiple sales trainers on the planet. There are multiple digital marketers on the planet. I know, that's even more shocking, right?
A lot of them don't know what they're doing.
But there's only one Jenna. And that's the point is the feature is merely a thing. It's the first point of comparison.
Okay.
The advantage is something good about the thing. In other words, why is this thing better than somebody else's thing? That's the difference. So as an example, and this goes way back to the start of my corporate career with Amana Refrigeration, we had a double dimpled egg tray.
What?
Exactly. A double dimple egg tray. What that meant is it had a hole for the egg, but it had a second smaller dimple so that you could actually take the egg and store it small end down as opposed to big end down. You could store it either way. Now, why would you want to do that? Because it keeps the egg fresher longer. That's the advantage about the thing. I'm telling you, this is the kind of, here's my point to all this. Once you learn the process, once you learn all the thought process behind this, you don't have to think about it again. It just is how you respond. That's why you teach the process. I'm going into the details so that you understand why teaching the process is important. That's what most people don't do. They don't take the time to learn it completely. But once you learn it completely and own it, then you'll function much better from that point forward. So the feature is a double dimple egg tray. Amana has egg trays. General Electric has egg trays. Whirlpool has egg trays. Amana was the only one with a double dimple egg
We are
tray.
talking about like eggs, like EGG, right?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
Yes, chickens still exist and we still have eggs.
What?
Exactly.
They don't magically just show up.
They don't just show up at the store. No. There's actually a process to getting an egg. Okay?
I feel like there's a lot of dad jokes on the tip of my tongue. As you were.
Yeah,
Soldier.
I'm sorry, I was reading Stephen's note. Okay. So now, people don't buy features. People don't buy the advantages. People buy the benefits that the features and advantages provide. Okay? You following that?
Yeah.
So it's not what it is that counts. It's what it does. Okay?
Okay.
Let's go back to the double dimpled egg tray. The feature is the double dimpled egg tray. That's the thing. The advantage is it holds eggs however you'd like to store them, but it gives you the opportunity to store them small end down, which is proven to help the eggs remain fresher longer. What's the benefit of a double dimpled egg tray? A fluffy omelet. That's the benefit. You're not getting a double dimpled egg tray. You're getting a better food result. And that's what people don't carry it to most of the time. It's the benefit. If you want better food quality, you might want to consider this product because they think so much about food quality that they've even incorporated a double dimpled egg tray. Now, adding a feature like that adds value, but then not sharing that value with your customer is the lost opportunity. That's where it goes wrong. It only adds value if the customer knows that it's there and that it is adding value. Which is where a person comes in to tell you that story. Is this making some sense?
It is. I was looking up the comments. So there's one Walmart facility, but there's 4 Amazon in the DFW area.
Right. That's what we were talking about. Yeah. Is Amazon had the multiples. Well, we didn't even I agree with you. Walmart probably only has one, but the difference is they're working
That's the
on
point, though.
Well, but that's and that number of 121, I'm sure, is an old number at this point because they're building them about as fast as they can do it. Anyway, so understand that the benefit is what the customer buys, and in the case of quality refrigeration, it was actually the food result, that the food was better. And so here's what's happened across our selling stratus. Because we live in this information glut society, and because we ease of acquisition society, the stories aren't being told. The value isn't being added. And if the value isn't being added, the default comes back to price. That's the whole point here. So you keep on coming back to, if all things are equal, the determining factor typically becomes price. So oversaturation of a product, while you might sell a lot of product for a period of time, is not a good thing, ultimately.
Ultimately. Sales are good. I like sales.
Sales are good, right? But the point is, if you have oversaturation of a product, now what becomes the differentiator?
Oversaturation. Stuff. Or no. Brand
value. And so where does this apply in today's society? Where does it especially apply? Well, I'll give you an industry that's riddled with this. Direct sales.
Oh, Lord.
Why? Okay, so let's think this example of direct sales, Stephen. Let me give it to you. You've got 100,000 reps in a company that are all offering the exact same product at the exact same price, at the exact same delivery schedule, at the exact same, everything about their offering is the exact same.
That makes me think of like Mary Kay, because we have the original Mary Kay. We have the main building here.
Right.
And I have a particular friend of mine who, her differentiator is she has an entire studio. She's a director. She's really high up their chain, been doing it for over a decade. She has an entire studio, makeup studio in her house with like makeup chair, big fancy flashy light things, little selfie mirror, all that fun stuff.
That's the differentiator. So that's where I was going with all this. So here's what happens in direct sales. Again, the reason I love training is because it makes me think about more training, and it makes me think about where the application for training comes. Okay, and so this is one of those. One of those is, and this is where I don't object, but I take issue with some of the training within direct sales. Everybody's heart is in the right place. They're working to, but it's the realization of it all. People train company specific, and how do you differ? So when they train company specific, the only thing they can do is train comparative to other companies.
Okay.
So now it becomes my brand is better than your brand, or my brand is better than this potential brand. And the reality is, and one of my friends in direct sale, Laura Hart, said, and it's a brilliant realization. She's gone as far to say, people don't buy products, people buy people.
Yep.
Brilliant. It's what I've been training my entire career. They buy you. They buy your approach. They buy your response.
The trust they have in you.
That's why the other stuff is so foundational.
This is why it's hard to hire salespeople for a small entrepreneur. You're the best salesperson. You know it. You know how to deal with the people. You know what they want. You know the industry.
So
everyone trusts you.
Exactly. It's so the differentiators have to become things outside the company itself. So when you're getting trained on the nuts and bolts, the ingredients of the product, the non-GMO, gluten-free, so even that stuff now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're gluten-free, so are we. Well, we're non-GMO, so are we. Well, we're whey protein, so are we. Well, we're whey protein, you're soy protein. Well, soy protein has been studied to show ... Blah,
blah, blah, blah, blah.
Do you understand where the comparison just happened? My ingredient's better than your ingredient. Are you kidding me? So now you got to become a chemist? Right?
You've got to know your product.
Well, you got to be a product of the product. You got to do all that, right?
You have to believe in it.
But you have to believe it. But that's being a product of the product. But you've got to believe in it because...
My favorite are people who sell Facebook ads. Like that's the only thing in digital marketing they sell, or Google ads, and they don't have their own ads running.
I'm telling you, you got to be a product of the product. Feature, advantage, benefit. People buy benefits. They don't buy what it is. They buy what it does. They don't buy the steak. They buy the sizzle. They buy the experience. And in today's time, what they're buying is experiential.
Experiential marketing.
It's the experience of what they will get. So that's why, again, if you've got to know your stuff inside and out, but do a audit of your competitors. What do your competitors do?
Know their things.
Know their things. Know what people love about them.
We were just talking about this when I was talking on Tuesday, offer hacking.
Exactly.
You don't know what your competitors are doing to work so well. Like, I keep on thinking my competitors are other digital marketers like myself. And I keep coming up with against the wall that my competitor is not other digital marketers. It's Marketing 360. I hear that from like out of the mouths of probably 60% of my customers. They got into Marketing 360, had their ass handed to them. The money, blood sucked out of their business with no customers in the door. Always Marketing 360.
That's why if we come back to it and really understand, we're all in the same business. We're in the results business. So what you have to deliver is results. Whatever your title is, a chiropractor is in the results business. I go in, I'm stiff, I hurt, I get adjusted, I don't hurt anymore. I have a new and better result. I like that chiropractor, right? So, but again, if we really, and we've talked about this over the last week or so in a lot of these trainings and a lot of realization, think about one of the most brilliant, I didn't say I like it, but it's some of the most brilliant marketing you've ever seen is, oh my God, if you want to be in a bathtub laying next to this wonderful person and you want to have intimacy, and because there's so many bathtubs that sit out in a farm field under the sky, and this
you're talking about.
And this wonderful thing, all you have to do is take this little pill. By the way, as soon as you do, your left arm will drop off, your right foot will break, your liver will blow through your chest, and it'll only be a one-night stand, but it'll be a wonderful experience.
And you'll need a prostitute.
Right. The point is, think about what they're marketing after state. They're marketing consumption of the product and the feeling, the experience of the after state.
I would love to be like, when they do market research studies, you bring a bunch of people in a room and you've got like a proctor in there who's not affiliated with anything. And then you've got like the whole group behind the double-sided mirror.
Right.
Or two-way mirror. I want to be on the other side of that mirror when these companies pull in a group of people and we're testing out these different marketing concepts and decided that your bathtub and a field of grain, that's it.
I've been part of multiple focus groups.
I have been too, and I just cannot. The more I think about what it's like to be in there, I just want to die laughing.
Well, again, and that's why you can really do an audit on who's doing what and get an understanding of where you can serve people better. And that's what it again circles back. Zig Ziglar said it many years ago. You can have everything in life you want when you help enough other people get what they want. All he said in that statement is, if I help Jenna accomplish her goals, dreams, and desires, my goals, dreams, and desires will be fulfilled. It's that simple. Go serve somebody.
People don't like doing that though, because it takes longer.
It takes effort.
It takes longer.
It takes longer. Sometimes. It
That's
takes
enough,
longer.
though.
It takes longer in the beginning, typically, because you don't have the relationship. It's much faster after the relationship has been built. See, there are times, we shared this a little bit the other day, but we're about to close some deals that could be worth millions and millions and millions of dollars that took one phone call last week. But it took years of preparation for that one call. That's where, again, foundationally, today's activity does not determine today's volume. I heard somebody say that Tuesday from stage. Right?
I said it because I heard someone else say it in a podcast.
I know.
On YouTube and Facebook Live.
But again, that's why I say it so often. Today's activity does not determine today's volume. Today's activity determines what happens 30, 60 days from now. Today's volume was determined by what happened 30, 60, 90 days ago.
And it's funny, when I said that, I remember I looked at you and I said it emphatically because I've watched salespeople come into our own office and they're hyped up and like I, kind of explain the opportunity, but I also try to let them know, like, you're going to work really hard and not see any direct results for the first 30 days because you have to build relationships and rapport and they have to mull it over. And I try to explain, like, given all the reporting, it's at least a 21 to 26 day buying cycle from the first point of contact till they actually buy or write a check or come in, right? And I try to, give them, but I watch them give up around that exact same point. And I've literally seen salespeople leave. And then the next day the sale comes in. I'm like,
that's why it's called pipeline selling.
But everybody, as soon as I said that, it was like, people were like, oh my gosh, this is novel. Write this down.
I know. Well, because it's not being, this is, again, I want to thank Rayanne for our conversation on Tuesday, because it made me realize a lot of this. Because to me, this stuff, I mean, I've been doing it for a few years. You know, I've been doing it for a long freaking time. And you just, sometimes it's hard to believe how people don't understand fundamentals. They think that something just shows up. See, here's what's wild. It's demonstrated for us in nature. The whole process is demonstrated in nature. If I want a bouquet of roses, what I ultimately want is the experience of being with the person I give those roses to. That's what I really want. So if I really want to make somebody happy, what do I need to do? The first thing I have to do is dig a hole in the ground. Because I have to prepare the earth for the rose seed. I first have to go backwards. I have to go down. I have to prepare the soil. I have to plant the seed. I have to cover it up. I now have to water it. I have to nurture it. I have to fertilize it. That's handling the objections. Get out of here, weed. You're an objection. This is called the sales process right here, right? Weeding is handling an objection. That's all. It's weeding your sales process. So now I've fertilized it. I've pruned it. I've nurtured it. I grow it up, but it's still only a single rose. So now I have to get referrals of its friends to make the bouquet. The point is, nature has shown us what the true cycle is. You have to sow way before you reap. And what people have been convinced is you can reap without ever sowing. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way in anything. Well, you know, I want corn on the cob this afternoon. Just hand it to me. You can't reap without sowing. You first have to prepare the ground. You have to put the corn seeds in. You got to nurture it. You got to let it grow. You got to allow a season. You got to allow time. You have to nurture it properly. You have to do whatever, and then you have an ear of corn. Everybody wants a sale in a second, but they're not willing to do what it takes to set them. You can have a sale in a second. It is possible if you have done the other steps in advance of it. So you can turn it on once you have a network. You can turn it on once you have relationships. You can make a call. I mean, there's somebody that I haven't talked to in a year now that I'm going to be talking to here in just a little bit. But a year ago, I tried to help her with her product. And we got her some help, but she couldn't take advantage of it a year ago. I have a different way to help her now. Haven't talked to her in a year. Sent her an email. Said, hey, I just wanted to reconnect because if you're still interested, I think I have a new source to solve your problem. She's like, oh my God, thank you so much. Within a matter of minutes, we'll have the call today. I'll have her connected today or tomorrow with that source. There may or may not be a deal. I don't know. But my point is, yeah, it'll happen that fast. But it's because of what I did a year ago and prior to that it'll happen that fast. And that's what people are missing. You got gurus trying to tell people you can have absolute success by doing nothing. Not the way it works. So that's why we do what we do. Why? Wait a second, this is double funnel TV. Why are we sales training on a funnel broadcast?
That was really important to me. I even told you that in the very beginning.
No, I know. But you understand, the reason is because if you don't understand these sales concepts, why are you building a freaking funnel?
That's meant for selling.
Yeah.
It's marketing with an ultimate goal of sales.
Well, but marketing is the funnel. Sales is the process you build into it. Sales and marketing go hand in. Hey, why don't we do double funnel TV? Novel concept. Let's serve the marketplace in advance of them taking action.
I think that's why sales and marketing, more so than probably any time in history, has to be so integrated. And where they used to be enemies, you have to be friends. You have entire selling processes happening online. So you have digital marketers essentially building out the entire sales process from start to finish.
Yeah.
But they're not salespeople, they're marketers.
I totally agree. And that's why, again, I was talking about my corporate background. We were an engineering-driven company. Now think this through. We had people who could make, I mean, our stuff was freaking awesome. When we came out with a product, ours was $7.99, and it would suck the top off a pot. I mean, it was awesome. And our competitor came out with a product that worked fairly well for $2.99. Do you know how much selling had to be done? And it's not selling, it's called, do you know how much value adding needed to be done? And the guy who sold the most of that product, when everybody said we're 3 times the price, we're over-engineered, all those facts were true. We were over-engineered. We were 3 times the price. We were all that. You're still looking at the guy who sold the vast majority of those units in the entire country. Because my job was to sell the product. It did matter that the product didn't fit the market, but I had to create enough value for people to overlook the difference in price. They felt they got more value by making the choice of our product versus theirs. But we were an engineering-driven company, which means the engineers made the stuff. Then they told sales and marketing to go sell it. Boy, is that tough. Better to have a market-driven, sales-driven value company than an engineering-driven. Again, it's just it's conceptually different. But that's the reason that I've always lived in this value-added space is because what a blessing. I had no choice. You know, if you've got the very best offering out there, even if it's higher than somebody else or got more stuff than somebody else, then you better learn how to tell that story to transfer that value add to your marketplace. That's why training is so important. That's why I go to the depths that I go to. And some people are like, you're harping on this point. Once you get it, you get it. So as soon as you tell me you got it, I'll stop talking about the point. But when I observe friends over and over and over doing the exact same thing and missing steps and missing things, I hurt for them. That's the realization. Okay, then we need to get more of this content out there and help more people.
And on that, it's 10:11.
Yay. How was that today?
I was good. I don't know if people will listen, but
well, I hope they listen.
They don't like hearing the hard lessons. They really like these affiliate marketers who go out and they tell them you can build a business making $300 a day with no list and no skills, and you don't have to do anything.
You know, it's exactly why people get addicted to drugs. Oh, just take this. You'll enjoy how you feel. Don't worry about the fact that all of a sudden it's going to destroy your entire life. Go for the good.
That was a big jump.
Well, it is a big jump, but I train intuitively. Somebody needed to hear that.
Somebody needed to hear that.
I didn't get specific on which drug.
All right. I have to go build
Okay.
paid funnels now.
Go build paid funnels.
Paid funnels. Great training. Thank you, Stephen, for joining us.
Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate it.
Providing
Share the word. Share the word. Share the link.
All right, guys. Y'all have a great day.
Bye-bye.